I want to say shout out to my little bro, Oshay Duke Jackson. Now, Oshay, he's been like for the last 3 weeks or so, he's really been getting at these Pan Africans. He's a hardcore Pan African living in Africa, and he's been exposing because he decided to speak up. Because, like we said, as a foundational Black Americans, our relationship to Pan Africanism has been one-sided. It only benefits the other groups coming in. It doesn't benefit us in any way because they don't do anything or add on anything to us. They just come in and take and benefit and side with W supremacy against us, right? So now when we speak out, we become the person that's wrong. We become the enemy. So Oshay, living in Africa, he decided to speak up and speak out about Africans and about the issues that they actually have, that they sweep under the rug, but come here to be very judgmental towards us. Now, since he's done that, there's a lot of people that want him deported, right? A lot of keyboard warriors talking about Africa for the African, but they living in Europe. They got a W woman. They not doing nothing in regards to Africa. And Oshay is exposing this. So we're going to get off into this today, and we're going to review what Oshay was talking about here, right? This thing, this thing is funny, man. Let's go.
Social media space like I am, you can see a whole bunch of content. But if you dig deeper into some of the African spaces, you will always see one group of people. The Pan-African keyboard warrior. Now, this is a person that typically does not live on the continent of Africa. They can, but they typically don't. They're typically migrants that were forced to leave out of the continent because of all of the reasons that's killing Africa today. Lying, corruption, insular gatekeeping, being loyal to networks, and not being loyal to meritocracy. And so these same individuals leave their respective countries and they risk losing their lives by trying to find a better life. But these certain individuals suffer from trauma. They know that their countries don't care anything about them and that their countries could care less if they lived or die. But they still defend their countries online from everywhere but in their country. Let me give you an example. This guy is Ugandan. His name is Noble Green. And of course, he doesn't post any photos of himself wearing Ugandan traditional wear. But he will post pictures of him getting his UK citizenship with the white man. And when I took South Africa's side against African migrants, guess what he said? Bro, me too. I don't think you're doing this in good faith. Africa is for African. Forget the United States. Damn. In Europe, everyone can move from one country to the other. Some countries are rich, others are poor. And even here in Europe, but not everyone will want to stay away from.
Now, remember, he said Africa is for the African, but he's not in Africa. He's in Europe.
Their family because the other countries are richer. People come to work and then go home. If South Africa doesn't want foreigners, it's so easy to close the borders. If your government allows people and then you start harassing them, looting and taking their belongings, then that's bad and should be condemned. He says, I'm dividing Africa. Now, I talked to this guy online, and this is a person that has lived as a migrant in many different places. He first lived as a migrant, I believe, illegally.
Now, but this is the whole thing, right? My whole thing is you guys flee from your country because your people are corrupt. Your people don't give a damn about you. Your president and your government, they steal all the money and don't give anything back to the people. So you got to go into somebody else's backyard to get the things that you need, but then got the audacity and the nerve to be running your mouth. Your people didn't give a damn about you. That's why. And you run right over there to the W man and hop, skip, and jump from country to country. You should just be doing what you got to do, making your money and keeping your mouth shut. You shouldn't be saying nothing about nothing because you know Oshay is right. Because if he wasn't, you would still be in Africa.
In South Africa, then he moved to Dubai, and then now he's living in the UK. Now, those stressful conditions in Uganda forced him out to go find a way someplace else. And this is not to say that Ugandans are bad people or even people in the government are bad people. It's just the way that it is. Because remember, this is Uganda. At At least that's what they always tell me.
He ain't lying.
So we know that this person is affected by the lack of development here. And when I call it out, the person is saying that I'm being divisive, even though he's proving my point, because there he is living in someone else's land, having to earn money, and he can't live in the land that he was born because he can't earn here. But he's mad at me for talking down on migration. But the real reason why he's mad at me is because he was a migrant. He was forced out and he had to go to South Africa and Dubai and possibly use somebody else's stuff just so that he can grift and come to the UK. But at the same
And it's funny, like they mad at Oshay for exposing this, but then they come here. This is my whole thing, right? You come here and you want to become the best version of yourself. Fair enough. I don't care. Fine, right? But why speak on us? Why try to speak on our story, our history, or whatever? You should be shutting your mouth. You should be wherever you at, becoming a doctor, lawyer, making your money. But you shouldn't be speaking ill about us or talking or trying to debate us about our history, or saying we lazy, whatever. Your people didn't love you enough to actually help build the country to keep you there. And if you was being destabilized by the British, the French, the Russians, or whatever other group being destabilized, and you had to flee your country, just know here in America, we was being destabilized by the W Americans. So why would you come here knowing when you know exactly what W supremacy is? Because it's the reason why you had to flee. You come here, see other people that's black, and you disrespect us. Come on, man. That just shows bad character. You're not good people because you already know why you had to flee your country in the first place.
Time, you will see this guy online always arguing about Africa's issues, participating in pan-African keyboardism. Then you have other guys, such as this guy who was from Conakry, Guinea, and he was upset with me. If you're FBA, then this is not your fight. Obviously, you can't spell. You can't claim not being African and meddling with Africa. Who is paying you? Now, he told me to stay out of Africans' business, which is interesting because his name is Thierno So or Sal. I'm not sure about that, but hey, I could take that better if you are a brother and you live on the continent of Africa. But we found out that this was not true. Despite being from Conakry, Guinea, we find him living where? In Berlin, Germany. And not only that, Mr. Thierno had a problem with me being in Africans' issues, but clearly this is him participating in a Black Lives Matter celebration in Germany, which of course was started by Black Americans. And then here is what his caption said. Join the world to the actions. There is only one race, the human race. Black Lives Matter. Hashtag Berlin. Hashtag no to racism. Again, here he is saying that somebody is paying me when the real question is, who's paying you? You don't earn in a African currency, you earn in euros. And I'm pretty sure you're working there to get your German citizenship so you can stay in Germany.
It's funny how they got this problem with Oshay, but Oshay left America to go live in Africa. With all the conditions that's going on there, he's enduring every day. The African is fleeing. I'm talking about he's road runnering his behind up out of there. And when Oshay called it out, they got the audacity to have a problem. Oshay could be living back here in America, right? Because he's a foundational Black American. He's so hardcore pan-Africanism. He's over there, but these people talking African for the African, they got their nose all up in W cooch, living up in a European country while being frauds. And they bring that same fraudulent, no loyalty to nobody attitude here. They don't have no loyalty because in that country, their governments don't have no loyalty to them. So why would they have loyalty to anybody? But let's proceed.
Germany and never have to deal with the problems of Conakry, Guinea. But it gets worse. There's another guy who saw one of my posts on Facebook and he was really pissed off to the point that he thought that I should leave Uganda. What the F is wrong with this guy? Does he know that Ugandans have also been deleted in South Africa? Why do Ugandans allow this wannabe to represent their country? While he is stoking hatred and supporting xenophobia against other Africans in South Africa. He's a guy by the name of Renee Tamko. Now, if you listen to the last name Tamko, it is unique because it's not a Black American name. In fact, it's a Cameroonian name. And even though this person is from French-speaking Cameroon, because clearly he's always speaking French on his Facebook, he doesn't even claim Cameroon on his Facebook. He claims that he's from New York City.
Boy, you don't sit your stupid ass down. Who the fuck you think you is?
And he's now living in Los Angeles. He hates Cameroon so much that he would rather take a picture out in front of the Beverly Hills bus stop, as you can see there, looking like, I don't know, somebody who is anti-African. Damn! Seems to me he enjoys Los Angeles so much because once he's there, he can talk about the weather every day. And this is the same thing that the British guy did also in the UK. They love the white man's weather all the time. But when you see Renee Tamko, it's interesting. He posts a lot of pro-Black stuff all the time. And the fact is, he loves claiming this. Africa is the gift that keeps on giving to the world for millenniums. And there he is showing the Africa and the diaspora totals, which includes, Africans and Black Americans and Jamaicans. Now, obviously, the diaspora had the most totals. And so people are checking him like, what does Africa diaspora even mean? Is this by race?
Damn.
What does Africa diaspora mean? In other words, he's being checked as it is because people know that he's trying to grift and take credit for something that he had nothing to do with. He loves claiming the African diaspora's medals. And the reason why he does that is because he has a parasocial relationship with Africa. He's literally living his life through somebody else while he understands he can never go back to Cameroon. He could never have a future there. It will never happen. He could never earn there. He can never build a life there. And some of the reasons for that is a lot of these guys understand the pettiness that happens within African families. Believe it or not.
Now, and what Oshay is saying is the pettiness that happens within African families through tribalism, right? You may meet a woman and want to marry this woman, but if she's not part of the tribe, they don't want nothing to do with her. They don't want to do no business with the family. They don't want to listen. It's horrible. Right. And then when you bring this up, they'll deny it. But I have African friends that I live in Philadelphia. They sit down and explain this stuff to me. They're more divided than anybody, but they come here and want to put that divide on us and say that we're outdoing you. No, you're not. Everything you guys doing in this country, we did first. We provided the platforms for you to be able to come and do it. We did it already. Right. And go ahead and do it. But why are you talking about us? You shouldn't even have an opinion on us. Whenever we talk about foundational Black American and building, we don't talk about Cameroon. We don't talk about what's going on in Uganda because that's none of our business. But y'all always in our business.
It's very difficult for these guys to come back, especially if they're wealthy. Somebody like me, a Black American, although I have a lot of disadvantages here, one of the issues is I'm not tied to anyone here. I'm not tied in any kind of tribal group. People don't really have a whole lot of expectations. I could tell them like F off or whatever, and they will just leave. But that's different when you're from here and you have a family and families expect things from you. And if you don't do those things, you might be set up, you might be robbed, you might be poisoned, you might be killed. And that doesn't really happen for somebody that's a Black American. I mean, Africans, for the most part, they don't really have any expectations from you. I mean, people that know you may do so, but nobody expects you to support their family. And people largely don't care if you are here or there, as long as you follow all the rules and you're a nice person. And that is the Black American advantage on the continent of Africa, because you're not tied into the system. And so what that does, it helps you move a lot faster, even if you are failing. And the reasons why that is because these guys, they keep the system going. They sweep all of the problems in Africa underneath the rug, and they blame victims all the time. Like, for an example, South Africa. Now, I don't understand how somebody is blaming South Africa and not blaming the governments of these countries that these migrants are coming from. See, if these countries were responsible, then the migration wouldn't be as much. And the reason why these guys who have fled their countries are blaming South Africa, because once it was them as a migrant. And so if they take the side of South Africa, what they're really saying is they're denying their own existence. And that ties into this whole concept of Africa is for everybody, when that's necessarily not true. We see that right now in South Africa. But the Pan-African keyboard keyboard warrior thing is a real disease. You literally have people who live in America. You literally have people who live in China. You literally have people who are critical of somebody else's commentary when they're the living proof that they themselves cannot make it in Sierra Leone, or they can't make it in Zambia, or they can't make it in Ghana. And the reasons why they can't make it is for the reasons that I'm talking about. You see, when I'm talking about these things, it's bringing light to a bigger issue. It doesn't just solve the diaspora's problem in Africa. It solves the Africans' problem in Africa. It solves the youth of Africa's issues. See, the problem with a lot of Africans that they have to face every day is, number one, if they find employment, that employment cannot pay for everything. Now, somebody may say this is similar to the States, but it is more crucial here. So if you get a job in Uganda, for example, or in Ghana or in Kenya, that job may pay $100 to $200 a month. Your rent is $300 a month. Your cell phone costs money. If you're a lady, your hair costs money. Your food.
And with that, my homies from Ivory Coast, my homie from Mauritania, I got a homie from Zimbabwe, and they always say a lot of times, man, you're working, your employers won't even pay you. They won't even pay you, right? They don't have insurance like that. Like it's just it's messed up, and people are fleeing. They can't wait to get out of there. They can't wait to get out of there because they don't love their people, take care of their people in the manner in which they should. Everything is done out of desperation, right? Because at the end of the day, they don't really have, those are not really countries. Those countries are controlled by the European colonial powers still. They don't have a military to control, to defend the resources that's under their feet that actually supply Europe, right? Europe lives, the world lives off of that. So now France, Germany, Britain, all those places, they have to come and extract resources. China, everywhere, they have to extract those resources from Africa. Africa don't have the military to walk into the UN and put their feet up on the table and tell them, man, listen, y'all ain't getting nothing until we give it to y'all. They don't. They don't. So now if you don't have a military to defend people that's trying to come eat you, then you are subject to them people. So those are fake countries, man. That's why they so dilapidated and poor, right? So those of us that study, right, that's why they have Burkina Faso surrounded, and the UN, the EU is doing deals with Ghana, right, setting up security posts. And man, listen, man, y'all not fooling me. And why wish just people be honest? There's no such thing as a Nigeria or a Ghana. Man, the Europeans still control that until you can smack them up and tell them to back up, right? From a military perspective, you ain't got no say so. You ain't got no say so. And it's just the truth. That's why you flee here and you make us the enemy. You come from the part of the world where all the resources move the world, and you're fleeing that rich resource place to come here and try to be the model minority to take our place. What does that say about Africa? We just telling the truth. And I'm not saying that out of hate for Africa, because I'm the type of man, I don't have a problem with Africans or Caribbean people. I believe, especially in the Caribbean, I believe, me knowing history in the Americas, the Caribbeans are our first cousins. I get it, right? My issue is we got to respect each other's story, respect each other's history. As an African, when you know your story and I know your story, we know each other's story, we shouldn't be disrespecting anything. We should be able to be in a room and have a constructive conversation about things. And listen, come here, do what you need to do, but don't talk down on us. Don't talk about our reparations, and don't try to side with W supremacy against us when you know the reason why you here is because of W supremacy. Don't do that. Stop. That's all we've been saying from jump. We was never against y'all. We against the stuff that you do, them shenanigans that you guys pull. That's what we against. But y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Shout out to Oshay Duke Jackson for constantly exposing these fake Pan-African keyboard warriors that talk about this Pan-African stuff, but they not living it. They in Europe. They got their nose all up some W cooch, right? Making breeding their race out. That's what they're doing. They can't wait to get up in some W cooch and make some light-skinned curly haired babies and keep the children up there so they can keep blending with W folks. That's what they do. So miss me with that Africa for Africa crap. But if y'all made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV, leave your comments in the comment section. And remember, this ain't about all Africans. I'm talking about the ones, y'all know who I'm talking about. The ones that actually run from Africa, to run over there to W folks and ingratiate themselves into their culture. There's a lot of Africans and Caribbeans that are riders. I'm not talking about y'all. I got love for y'all. Right? FBA is a lineage. Everybody don't all agree. I got love for y'all. I got love for, like I said, I consider people in the Caribbean our first cousins. They're family in the Caribbean. We've been through the similar things, right? And sold and traded back and forth. Yes, you people from Ghana, you sold a lot of those people that's in Jamaica. Absolutely. Right? Barbados, we ain't stupid. In Guyana, we know what's up. We know what's up. You Nigerians, right? Down there, man, listen, I ain't got to get into the history part of it, but all I'm saying is let's have boundaries and respect each other's story going forward. So if you made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV, leave your comments in the comment section. Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.